Hello once again, YouTube. It's Lovell Halls with another Lovell Asks Why video. Well, could be also explains why in this particular case. And it explains why I believe we're taxed enough already. For those of you who've worked full-time jobs like I have and have gotten into the 25% tax bracket, well, you're taxed on your income. Well, that sounds all fine and dandy, except for you're taxed on the gas that it takes to put in your vehicle, both on the state and federal level. You're also taxed on your income on the state level. You're also taxed on the car that you own, which you were taxed on when you bought it. If you bought it, say, new. And you're also taxed repeatedly on your car. Your personal property taxes are due, here in the Commonwealth, they're due every 6 months. And if you can pay them for a whole year at a time, but they aren't more than a year away. You're still taxed on all of your groceries. You're still taxed on everything you buy, everything to, say, the Bluetooth headset that I'm wearing right now, to basically a piece of paper that you use to write something down, to a pen. Everything has a sales tax on it as well. So you're taxed on your income, and then you're taxed on the things that you buy with your income, and you're taxed every which way to Sunday. You're taxed on your electric bill. You're taxed on your water bill. Your water bill is a tax if you happen to live in the city, in a city like I do, where it is city water. You're also taxed, in some cases, on having to put a little decal on your vehicle. Buena Vista still does that, to where you have to pay $35 per vehicle you've got in order to put this little decal on there that says that you paid the city tax on your vehicle. Well, why is it so complex? And in some cases, the tax code is so stupidly complex. I happen to know that in the 90s, CBS actually ran a news story that showed there was a tax on one's telephone bill that dated all the way back to the Spanish-American War. In fact, the income tax itself is actually old. I'm going to actually put a link in this one to Oversimplified's video on Prohibition this time. That way, you can actually go see for yourself. Oversimplified, as the name suggests, makes it too simple, a little too simple, but makes it comical and gives you history in bite-sized chunks. It doesn't break it down to the point where your eyes start glazing over. In some cases, it's actually downright funny. I particularly love the scene of the part 1 of the Napoleonic Wars where Napoleon is born. That is still a hilarious section to Oversimplified's repertoire. Well, that being said, Oversimplified actually explained that the reason we even have an income was because of Prohibition. At the time, the U.S. was getting most of its tax revenue, from booze. Well, if they were going to outlaw booze, the Uncle Sam was going to miss out on a lot of its taxes. So as a compromise, in order to establish Prohibition, they actually decided to do an income tax. So, we all know how Prohibition ended. We've got booze available now. You can go down to an ABC store and get a bottle of vodka, or you could go to the local convenience store and buy yourself some beer, for the exception of a few counties who still have dry laws. But national dry laws don't exist. The Homestead Act, long since ago, has been revoked. And the constitutional amendment that went with it has also been revoked. So, why do we still have an income tax, and why are we not just taxing the booze like we did before then? I mean, the income tax sounds outdated at that point. I personally favor Mike Huckabee's fair tax, where it completely redoes the code, the law books, to where tax law is quite simply no income tax. The only tax that you have to pay is a national sales tax. That's it. And he suggested, I believe it was something about 10%. Not dissimilar to that of Ben Carson's plan of what he called tithing. And I believe that plan actually holds merit, because it doesn't matter whether you're me or somebody else who happens to fall under the category of poor, or if you happen to be Bill freaking Gates. You still need to have your groceries, and in the case of Bill Gates, he's gonna build whatever he's gonna build to build up Microsoft. He's gonna continue to do that. He might even go out and get himself another Lamborghini because he can afford a boatload of them. And it is at that point that you are taxed based on how smart you are. So if you take the time to go to, say, Sharper, or you get yourself a Sam's Club membership, and that's how you do your grocery shopping, and you buy in large bulk at wholesale prices, not retail, you're not going to be taxed as much as somebody who goes and decides to buy a new Rolex. So, I believe we're taxed enough already. When you buy, when it comes down to it, you're taxed on your groceries, you're taxed on your income, you're taxed on what you already own. So if you own a house, you're taxed on that every year, you're taxed on your car every year, you're taxed on the land your house is on, and therefore the driveway your car is parked in every year. And something you've already paid who knows how many times. It's like I've personally have my Chevy Cruze. I've had it for 3 years. I've been taxed on it by state taxes 3 years running now. And I've had my truck since 2007. My 98 S10, I've had him since 07. And I've been taxed on him every year since. So I've been taxed on my truck for more than 10 years. Enough! So, this one definitely needs to get to the representatives in the House and the Senate, because they control the power of the purse. They're the ones who write tax law. And that being said, the state tax laws are often a smaller version of what happens on the federal level. You're taxed on your income by the state. You're taxed on everything that you buy, including gasoline, food, things of that nature. And in some cases, you're taxed extra hard on the roads you drive. Those of you who drive toll roads, people who happen to drive I-66 going into DC knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, and this goes back to a little something called the Laffer curve. It is, for those of you who are not very well math oriented, it is a curve that basically says it has 0% to 100% tax, and both 0 and 100% equal 0, because if you tax something 100+%, then there's going to be people who's just not going to buy it. The number's just going to drop off. What you want is the number, whether you want big government or you just want fiscal responsibility, the number is the same. You want the tax percentage to be at the top of the curve. So it does something like this. And you want your tax number to equal where the top of that curve is. Now, if you're taxed a dozen ways a Sunday, how is anybody going to know when you're at the top of that curve? Well, the only way you could know is if you raise or lower the taxes and the revenue changes accordingly, right? But if it's nice and simple, it's going to be easier to know. If it's say that Mike Huckabee's national sales tax, fair tax as he called it, and it was set to 10%, and then you move it to 12, and the number drops. Okay, fine. It's not 12%. Move it back to 9%. And the number either goes up or it goes down. It's like, if it goes down, okay, then it's not 9%. It's somewhere, but it's probably closer to 10. If the number goes up either way, you're getting closer to the top of that proverbial curve, where sometimes the curve may look like this, or it may look like this, but it always drops back down. There is a point in which everybody goes, the heck with that. So, we're taxed enough as is. This one definitely needs to be shared with every congressman and senator that you know. It needs to be shared with all your friends, because you're taxed 5 or 6 different ways before you can actually live your life. You're taxed on your income twice, once on the federal, once on the state. You're taxed on your gasoline to get to work, once on the federal, once on the state. You're taxed on your groceries. I believe that one is only state. I can't be sure. Please do comment below if you happen to know there's a federal groceries tax. You're taxed on any goods you use, like the Bluetooth headsets that I just pointed out, non-grocery goods on the state level, and if you buy it through Amazon on the federal level, so there's 7. In order to have your car, you're taxed on the state level for the property tax. And even if you use public transport, public commuter systems, like, say, a bus or the subway, well, that in itself is a tax. And that doesn't even count anything that happens with your local. So I counted 9 times that somebody could be taxed. And that doesn't even count your electricity bill. That doesn't count your phone bill. That doesn't count the sewer. So I've already gone over a dozen times over. And that's before you can live day one comfortably in your life. That's enough. That's way too much. Come on now. To use a Joe Bidenism. Come on, man. I was like, let's think about that for a second. If you do fall under the 25% income tax bracket, that means about a quarter of every dollar you earn goes to Uncle Sam. That's the federal tax. And in Virginia, that happens to be about 8%, I want to say. And that 8%, coupled with that, that's another 8 cents. So 33 cents of your money goes flying out the window before you even see it. 33 cents for every dollar you make. So even if you make a nice round $10 an hour, that means $3.30 of your money goes away before you even see it on your paycheck. Okay? So, say you work a 40-hour work week. In theory, that means you make $400. Well, $3.30 basically becomes, well, let's see, $33 times 4, that's a $132 of your money goes away before you even see it. So that's that's $268 that you actually get. Okay. So now you take that $268 and you buy $100 worth of groceries. Where here in the Commonwealth, I believe the tax rate is 5%. Well, that throws another $5 onto your thing. So now Uncle Sam has taken $137, I believe it is. And that doesn't even count the gas that it takes for you to put in your vehicles. How far is it before Uncle Sam even gets half? Well, I just pointed out that you were only making $400 in that particular case. Wow. Only making $400, it only takes another only 60 some more. And don't you think that you might be giving that up, paying for the electric bill, paying for the sewer, paying for the water, paying for your phone, paying for the gasoline that it takes for you to get back and forth to your ride to work? Okay, so I think it's safe to say over half of your money, just making $10 an hour, goes to Uncle Sam. And yes, $10 an hour at full-time hours will get you to that magic $25, 25% bracket. Okay. So, that being said, I believe taxed enough already is a perfect analogy. Please share this one with your congressmen and senators. Please share this one with your version of the General Assembly, state senators, delegates, things of that nature. Because I know there's a lot of people like me who are taxed enough already. This has been Lovell Hawes. Have yourself a good day.